Happy Christmas, everybody!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Ho, ho, ho!
Welcome, welcome, welcome to our December Birds of Essex review. We've just about made it through to this point, and at this point, I'm going to lose my hat like I did last year, otherwise I'll be itching all night. Hot enough as it is.
Got proper hat hair going on there.
Sorry, guys.
Oh,
I've done a Steve Grimwade. Left the volume on.
Oh.
I'm Mel Shepherd Wells. I can see who's putting up messages tonight. I heard it was so good last month. I missed out, so I've got my little screen there. It's great to see you guys. How you doing?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, great.
Oh, I need to make an announcement.
Oh,
this program may have flashing lights. Okay.
Yeah.
As long as it hasn't got flashing, that's all I worry about.
It also may have sound problems because my voice is full of cold. I've had all the tests and things are all negative, but I'm gonna just shut up and mute and cough all night. So I'll start now. Over to you guys.
Okay, so what have we got coming up tonight? So we're going to have a very special feature, aren't we, Steve G?
Are we?
With a local Malden gentleman.
Yes, we are. We've got a special guest tonight, haven't we? Talking about a certain book that's just been released.
Yeah, and we're going to have a competition coming up later on, and everyone's going to have a chance to win the book. The book is called The Wildlife of Malden, and it's a fantastic publication. I think Steve G's got a copy. There we go. We talked about it briefly last month, and John has kindly agreed to join us this month and tell us a little bit about himself and the book. That's coming up later, and he's going to be setting a really good and difficult competition question, and whoever gets the closest will be able to win a copy of the book, hopefully in time for Christmas. What else have we got coming up, guys? Later on, we've got a special guest, haven't we?
We have. We've got the big guy coming in.
We have. What, Father Christmas?
We've got gifts, prize gifts as well, with those of you that did go out or even from COVID secure bedrooms, show us pictures of sweaters and binoculars. We've got a little kind of fun thing with that, haven't we, Matt?
We definitely have. Yeah, I think, shall we get the pictures up now? Because we've been running a competition basically where people who were out and about birding, if they put on a Christmas jumper and sent us a photograph, it's just for fun, then whoever's voted as having the best photo will win a prize. Oh,
what do you think?
You know what, Matt? Do you know what, guys? I've gone 50 years without owning a Christmas jumper, and once I've worn this tonight, I'm sending it back to Amazon tomorrow.
No.
So,
Amazon, I heard you got it from those old days down at Warner's that you've been with all week.
oh, harsh.
I was thinking you got it at Poundland, to be fair, but there you go.
Do you know, it's very comfy, actually.
It looks good. Yeah, it looks good.
We'll be talking later about where we've been, and so I'm sure you'll be wanting to know where Steve's been after that comment.
No, you don't want to know.
Anyway, back to the competition. So yeah, we asked people to send in pictures, and we've had 3 entries. So thank you very much to all 3 who entered. And we're gonna go through these now. And what we'd like you to do in the YouTube chat, if you're logged into YouTube via your Google account, you can comment in the chat. And we'd like you to just vote on which of these 3 you think is the best. And whoever wins is going to get a mystery present.
Whoa!
Ooh, very exciting. So the first one is young Ben Rumsby. I don't know if everyone can see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a story behind this, isn't there, Steve S?
There is. He sent me a message. Ben's in our local WhatsApp group for East Tilbury and this area. And he said, is it too late to put this in the other day when he sent me it? I said, no. He said, it's from my bedroom where I'm self-isolating, but still birding with COVID. And he's also trying to do his maths homework there as well. Well done, Ben.
Do you know what I was really impressed with, guys? If you might have to zoom in a bit. If you look at Ben's window there, he's got he's written on the window. Obviously, got one of those like China graph pencils.
Oh, I totally noticed.
Right, yeah.
On
Got his list there.
What a great idea. And that'll do a double job because it'll stop birds from flying into the window as well.
Exactly.
Fabulous. That's why I leave my windows really dirty and never clean them, honestly.
Do you know, if I did that when I was a kid, I'd have been stuck around the back of the head.
What I really like though is on his jumper, we've got a lit up lightsaber by the looks of it, which looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
Next picture was sent in by Claire Ward. And Claire Ward, thank you for sending this in.
Excellent.
I think she was birding in the Dovercourt area, so she was actually out and about birding. And she's got a really nice hollyberry jumper. And I like the little penguin
earrings.
Santa earrings, yeah, I really like them.
Great. Well done, Claire. Thank you.
And then we had a late entry over the last day or two from Mel Shepherd Wells.
Public domain, no less.
Yeah. And he's out and about somewhere. I don't know whether that's in his local park or wherever it may be. But yeah, that's a very bright jumper. I think he's probably looking for birds because he scared them all off with the jumper, to be fair. So
I don't know, it's got a few camo colours, not as bad as mine.
matching hat as well. So that's really good. So yeah, people can just put in the chat which of those three fun photos you feel is best, Ben's, Claire's, or Mel's, and then this fabulous
prize
will be on their way.
Yeah, so if tonight you want to feedback, ideally we want you to put messages into the live chat. Let us know who's out there, who's watching, and where you're watching. Also your highlights. We're looking back over the last year. What have you been your birding highlights? Maybe a few lowlights as well tonight. So let us know that. And yeah, if you haven't already kind of logged into YouTube, you can do that by your Google Mail or whatever. Otherwise, are there any other ways that people can get with a Gmail, Matt?
Yeah, so if you want to send in an email, if it's easier, if you can't log into your YouTube account, just email us at ebwstalks@gmail.com, and we'll do our very best to keep an eye on the email account while we're talking, and hopefully cover all of that as well. But the best way to get in touch with us really is by the chat. I think we're all looking at it. So hopefully we'll all be able to respond. And talking of that, we've got people. Oh, we've got some votes coming in already.
Right.
And Mel said that was taken in Harlow Work car park, and he was listening to a missel thrush.
Excellent.
Excellent.
I reckon the missel thrush was saying, "Take off the jumper."
What is he wearing?
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Okay. Right. What's next, guys?
Good. Well, I was going to say we're also planning to have an interlude, aren't we? Kind of a few minutes in the middle.
We certainly are.
So a little pit stop. And so there'll be opportunity for you if you're already kind of live on this now and, need to kind of email later or get a message in. You'll have a chance to do that, at that point as well. So you don't have to kind of stop watching now and then kind of play catch up. So it'd be best to kind of watch, live, even if you're coming in late. Move the cursor forward to where we're live right now. As far forward to the right as you can, and then you won't miss anything and you'll be able to get fully involved. Good. But subscribe to the channel as well. Kind of click the bell and that gives you notifications. We don't get any money or whatever from it, but it's a good way of communicating out what's going on and gives you an easier access to the channel. And over the last year, which we'll be looking back later in the program, we've got quite a library going, and we had a good time doing digiscoping and phone scoping. That seemed quite popular last time, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. But if anyone's got any subjects they want us to cover in future, please let us know, because we're open to all suggestions.
Well, talking of the top 3 highlights of the year, I think shall we kick off with ours, and that might get people kind of telling us what theirs are. It can be anything bird related really from the last year. So I don't know, do you guys want to go first?
Well, I was going to leave mine for later, but I don't know about Steve, but I know Pete Dwyer had a highlight he wanted us to see.
He did, yeah.
Have we got that?
Get that ready.
Ready to cue? But if you want to share your, I'm multitasking you now, Matt. If you want to share your highlight as well, but that might be difficult.
No, that's fine. Well, no, it's just an audio thing, really. I was just going to run through. But, let me just see if I can bring up Pete's video first. So last month, you may remember, we did a piece on digiscoping and phone scoping, and we missed the fact that Pete had actually sent in a little video. So if I click this now, hopefully.
Pete Dwyer is our membership secretary, for those that don't know. So if you become a member, you'll be contacted by Pete.
You definitely will. Can you see that video on the screen, guys? It's not playing.
Oh
yet.
yeah.
Excellent. So this looks like it's been phone scoped, I would say, maybe digiscope, but it's obviously through a scope because you can see the edge of the image just there at the top of the screen. And it's a little video of a blue tit.
Even be through his. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, just a little young blue tit in the nest box. And just squeaking away, and I think it just looks lovely. A really, really nice, really nice image. I think the video itself goes on for a couple of minutes, so I won't play the whole thing, but it's just a really good, clear image, and it just shows what you can do by just popping your phone onto your scope, as we discussed last time.
It's really nice. I'm thinking kind of during breeding season, Matt, if you let it run, then people could even indoors, if they've got a window that looks out on that, they could even set up an old phone with a telescope or even a pair of binoculars that are mounted on a tripod or some, windowsill or books or wine glasses, as we do with our webcams and all that kind of thing, just to keep it there, and then you can record all the way through the day what happens.
Oh, there you go. It's
good quality.
It's really good, isn't it?
Yeah, really, really good. Fantastic.
I'm wondering whether this is a nest box that Pete's actually made himself, or whether it's a purpose-built one. Maybe you can message in.
Yeah, maybe you can let us know. But that's really good. Thanks for that, Pete. And sorry we missed it last month. Thank you.
Good. So we better go on to some news, guys. There's been lots of news happening.
Yeah.
We've had a update. For those of you that don't know, the BTO and other agencies have a red list of birds that have certainly been threatened and declining in the UK, and there's been an update to that. I know John Buchanan's going to talk quite a bit more about it, but for those that aren't aware, there's been species that have been added. Originally, 1 or 2 have come off, I think.
Can we all see that on the screen there?
Yep.
Maybe Steve G, I don't know if you can talk us through some of the species on there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, some of these species we're familiar with being in Essex, but they've added, I can't think how many they added. They've recently just added another section onto this ever-growing red list.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most up-to-date one, and I think anything with a little a, hopefully people can see this on whatever device they're watching on, but anything with a small a afterwards, such as the Buick Swan, Goldeneye, Smew, they've kind of been moved from the amber list to the red list. And obviously the red list is the birds that are in serious trouble, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, there's lots of farmland birds there and waders. And obviously,
sorry, go on.
I was going to say, there's quite a lot of birds that winter here in Essex, which for some reason numbers are low.
Seabirds are in trouble as well, aren't they?
Yeah, there's some standout birds. I mean, herring gull, everyone thinks that herring gulls, there are loads of herring gulls everywhere and you take them for granted, but they're on the red list.
Yeah.
The same with house sparrow, greenfinch. It's just a shame that there are so many birds that have been moved to the red list. And then there's an amber list as well. Obviously won't go through the whole list, but some of the birds have been moved from red to amber, which is obviously good news, but then some have been moved from the green list to the amber list. So
yeah,
overall, there are a lot of birds in serious trouble. And if anyone wants to look at this in more detail, the BTO website has actually got a feature on it with some information as well that you can sit and read at your leisure.
Yeah,
but we were going to sort of mention recording, weren't we, guys? How important it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Just going to say before that, Matt, that on the amber list, wood pigeons crept on.
Oh, really? I didn't see that, actually. Goodness. Let's have another look.
Pigeons on the amber list. So,
goodness, yeah.
Which is, you'd never think that was possible, would you? Really? I mean,
and black-headed gull.
Yeah.
I
mean, so like you guys were saying, the importance of recording your birds and sending either to Bird Track or enter them on our website.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you think it's mundane. It's going to be really important in the future. So
there used to be a day when you just record selective species or big numbers of species, but those days have gone, really. And again, it's very easy to record all of your data, even estimates of thousands of birds if you've seen waders or whatever, And the BTO again do some great training on that. If you're interested in that, check out that website. And more concerning news, and particularly locally, is the bird flu, isn't it?
Yeah, really worrying, that is. As if we haven't got enough to contend with other things. Yeah,
we've got our own viruses, and avian bird flu is concerning this year. I put out on our email group a piece from a local animal hospital that had to euthanize a swan and was called out to the swans at Hullbridge. I don't know if you've got that map.
I've got the map prepped. I haven't got the
the map's fine.
Yeah, you may better bring that up. But
and you can see there's actually a national map there. This is available if you go to the BTO or even the DEFRA site, and you'll see these 3 cases are 3 particular incidents in Essex. The Sudbury one kind of overlaps into Essex. The other 2 are clearly in Essex. One in Chelmsford, and one out kind of is that kind of Brinton way?
Yeah, Brinton.
Yeah.
Where there's been cases of birds found, and at Hullbridge there's swans that are in serious trouble with it. It's very concerning.
These are kind of zones that they flagged as being areas where the disease is unfortunately particularly rife. And you can see you've got a 3-kilometre zone is this central area here, and then the outer circle is a 10K surveillance zone. And we've kind of just put some brief guidance for anyone that's not familiar with maybe what to do. So if you've got a visibly sick or a dead bird, don't touch it, because you could obviously be exposing yourself or transmitting the disease elsewhere. If you find a dead bird with no visible cause of death, you can report it to DEFRA, and the phone number's on the screen, 03459 335577. And if you're out and about in an area that's affected, it's good advice really to maybe just quickly disinfect your tripod legs and your welly boots when you get back home or when you leave the area. But we put a small piece on the website, and if everyone can just be aware of this. We thought we'd get the bad news over and done with first of all, didn't we, guys? But
also it's worth saying, when you're cleaning, if you have bird feeders, be careful there, wash your hands. There's not a high risk of catching anything, but as I understand it, this COVID thing jumped across from animals to people, and that has always been the case, or the concern, one of the concerns, I think, regarding avian bird flu. And so wash your hands after keep your bird feeders clean. My practice the other day was just to let it completely empty, then clean it all out, and then put it back up full again and move them around as well. But BTO website, I've got stuff for you. But there's some good news about Farley Hospice, isn't talking about feeders?
Yeah, there is. Steve, do you want to cover this, Steve G?
Yeah, so the Birdwatching Society are always looking for projects to support, and Alan Watts is on the committee with his wife Sue, who does our indoor meetings. But Alan has managed to arrange to get some lovely bird feeders at Farley Hospice in Chelmsford, which the Society have donated, and they look absolutely fabulous, don't they? Really, really
great. Well done, Alan. Yeah, great idea.
Great idea. And that's going to give the visitors and patients so much pleasure, because, I mean, you know what it's like, guys. We've been very stressed the last year or two, but watching birds makes you feel so much better. And hopefully the patients at Farley will feel the same.
Yep.
With all the stuff that came through. So, yeah, well done, Alan. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well done, Alan. And you can see Alan on the left there. I don't know the lady's name. I do apologise, but I think that's a lady who works at the hospice on the right-hand side there.
Lady in charge.
Really good work. And I think we've donated some food as well, haven't we, guys?
We have, yeah.
Good.
I think we donated like a year's worth of food.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what birds they get on there.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah. We'll be twitching there in a few months' time.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Good.
Cool.
So we're now kind of going to bring John in, aren't we?
Yep.
Yeah, I think
John
so.
Buchanan.
Have we had any comments we want to catch up with?
Yeah, should we just have a look?
Anybody?
We haven't really covered the chat yet. So we got some votes for the jumper competition. So I'll try and add them up later on. More votes. Looks like we're going to have a winner already, maybe, but still some time. Nick Lay said hello. So hi, Nick. Jan Lewis, he's watching as well, and again he's voted on the jumper competition. Nick said he's got so many highlights this year, including the East Tilbury white stalk. But my favourite, and I think he's gone off. Oh, hang on a minute. My most memorable memory for the year was watching and photographing juvenile kingfishers on his local lake in East Tilbury. So I don't know if you saw any of those, Steve.
No, he doesn't tell me where they are.
Oh, okay.
In fact, there's a story that my son and I built a kind of a hide out of old dead wood in Linford Wood to watch, stuff there. And we put it by a stream where the kingfisher frequent. We never saw a kingfisher there. I think Nick photographed kingfishers there all the summer. Once he found my hide, or my son's hide, he was in it more than we were.
Brilliant.
But if Nick's watching, we've probably got half of East Tilbury watching as well, because they all follow him on his Facebook channel. So it's worth a look.
Pete Dwyer, he said he digiscoped the blue tit from his lounge. Brilliant.
And he's also said that the box or the nest box is a wood crate.
Yeah, wood crate box. Yeah.
Make, I think.
Sounds pretty good. Richard Chew said his personal Essex highlight for 2021 was a male pied flycatch on his local patch in Langdon for one day only in April. So that may probably a breeding plumage, I would imagine, in April. Wow.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Yeah.
Very good.
Great bird.
Yeah, fantastic.
Well seen.
And then again, coming back to the bird flu, unfortunately, Richard said apparently 10% of the Svalbard population of barnacle geese wintering on the Solway Firth has already passed away, unfortunately, which is a real shame.
Yeah.
And Daryl Rhymes just said hello. Webster at Abberton today, and thankfully no sign of any ill or dead birds at Abberton. So
good.
Fingers crossed it stays that way. Yeah.
Good.
Nice.
Good.
Right.
Let's welcome in John.
Yeah. We see if we can bring him in.
You doing that, guy?
Should be joining us, hopefully. Any second now. Here we come.
Here he comes. Good. So John Buchanan's written a book. Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Hi there.
Welcome to the Birds of Essex.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Good. So we're going to kind of find out a little bit about you, John. Kind of there's a clue kind of behind you, I think, of kind of where your beginnings are, because it's not Essex, is it?
Well, that's right. Well, I was brought up in Edinburgh many moons ago. So I'm one of these people who doesn't quite know when they started birding. I think to have always been birding. So I started up in on the coasts around the River Forth, Aberlady and Musselburgh and other locations like that. Sea ducks and waders and geese and so on. So it was a nice place to start up.
I was up there last January. Sorry, talking over each other. I was up there last January looking at that white-winged surf scoter. Beautiful area for birding up there.
Well, it's a funny old place, that Musselburgh Lagoons. When I was there, it was all just ash, but I think it's been landscaped now, hasn't it?
Yeah, houses all around. It's a fantastic place. Love to live there, really. So what brought you to Essex?
Work.
Okay.
And so I came down probably about 35, 40 years ago now, frighteningly, to work for Ford. And during that time, they kept me pretty busy. So consequently, I didn't sort of travel that much. I started off in Billericay, and in the odd free time I had, I went to Hanningfield, did quite a lot of birding in Hanningfield. But I always kind of felt a bit frustrated because there were a lot of other people birding Hanningfield more regularly than me. And I always kind of felt I was just sort of finding things that other people had found earlier in the day. So I'd be quite excited, and I go back and find that, that everyone knew everything I'd seen it already. But then there's opportunity to move, and so moved to Malden. Didn't know much about Malden at all at the time, but we took at the time. I had a couple of young kids, and they kept me busy, and I just sort of started, as you do in a house, sort of unpacking boxes and things, going down the tip. And even at the tip, sort of realised there were birds there. And it turns out, I found out subsequently, it was right by the tip in Malden. It's one of the best places where as the tide comes in, it's one of the last places that's still got mud. And so a great place for waders. So I ended up doing a bit of birding there and walking up and around along the seawall. And one by one bumped into some other people and who you will know well. I mean, I don't know many people in the club because I haven't sort of really travelled much further from the boundaries of Malden in Essex. But Simon Wood, Russ Neve, and Simon Patient at the time, and other people birding. And so there's a group of us, and we began meeting up. We had to share observations. So the place to do that was in the pub. So we had regular pub sessions, and really from that, it got to be quite a good group of people going out regularly. Excellent.
That's good. I was going to ask you a question, kind of, if anybody's never been to Malden and they want to go birding over Christmas, where would they go? I think you just answered it. Go to the rubbish tip. You can take all your Christmas litter as well.
Unfortunately, you have to queue. That's the downside.
Probably don't let you in now if you're out of town as well. Good. So you built a community, and you know, I'm listening to you, kind of. Is the thing that really ticks your box in birding is finding stuff? Is that what you know really like, rather than the kind of going twitching what other people say?
Yeah, well, I mean, when I was younger, I did the old crazy stuff up to Cornwall and Thurso and whatnot. But in recent years, it's just been, well, it's in part finding stuff and part it's just escape from work. I mean, it's just that, you know, I had quite a stressful job, I suppose. And so it's quite nice just to get some fresh air and just go for a wander and put the world to right.
Yeah, so true. So then kind of you're in Malden and you're developing, you know, on basically a blank canvas. And so when did kind of the idea to actually write a book come? Kind of, was that, you know, from the beginning as you're looking around, or how did that come to be?
Well, I mean, what was happening is, as we've kind of year on year going through it, we started keeping notes, records of what we were seeing each year. And I was just conscious that all these records could just sort of disappear, just sit in the back of a cupboard somewhere.
Yeah.
And it just thought it'd be a good idea to try and capture it. And at the same time, this was a period when digital cameras were appearing.
Mm.
And so the same was happening with photographs. People would be taking photographs, capturing sort of quite unusual birds or unusual behavior. And again, that just, you know, the worry is that those photographs never see the light, you know, the light again. They're just sort of locked away. So just sort of capturing it. So it gave me a bit of a project to do in the evenings, or when I was traveling with work. I could just write odd paragraphs and started stringing it all together.
So what have been some of the highs and lows over the time that you've been in birding in Malden? What have you, again, kind of your own experiences of birds, you know, highlight birds that you've seen, and also kind of, you know, transitions and change? Because I think you're quite, you know, interested in the conservation side as well. Yeah,
well, it just so happened when I was looking at this period that an awful lot has happened within, I mean, we're looking back for 20 years from 2000 to 2020, and it just sort of historically a lot took place in that spell. I mean, I don't know, I forgot one of my props handy, Matt, one of the slides.
I can share the screen now, actually, to be fair, John.
You maybe show that. I'll tell you what, if you just...
Hold on. If I do that, hopefully that's going to work. It was working.
That's coming.
Here we go.
Can you see anything or not?
I'm going to get it. It's gone. It looked like it was processing and it went to white screen. Matt, has it picked up the wrong screen?
Let me just try that again.
We had it before in the template mode.
When I expanded it, I think that's causing an issue. So we might have to do it in the small the small version. Sorry. Hold on. Try once more.
Apologies for those that are looking on phones. And
so if we do it that way,
and take you through.
I'll try it once more, but it didn't really like it going to a bigger. There we go. That's worked this time.
Yeah, we got it.
Fantastic. Okay.
Right, there we go. Yeah, if you just track through the next.
Tell me when to stop. That one?
Yeah, oh, go back. That one there, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, just to give people an idea. So this is what we mean. This is our Malden patch, which was sort of decided on by Simon and Russ slightly before I entered the scene. And it's sort of scientifically based around Russ's old house, that blue spot in the centre when he used to live in London Road. So, but it's quite, it's a 3-mile radius circle, and it sort of fortuitously covers all the main sites we're interested in. So it's got, you know, the top hand, it's got Chigborough Lakes, it's got the estuary, and coming down on the sort of bottom left-hand side, got Hazley Wood, and then sort of round is got the canal around Beeley and so on. So it captures lots of good sites, though from a conservation point of view, I will sort of point out we've got a lot of habitats in Malden, but none of them are very extensive. So they are very threatened. You know, none of them are large enough areas of, so we say, forest or wood or open countryside and so on to really support large populations of birds. So we've got lots of small populations of interesting things going on in Malden. But if you just can, if you're able to go on to the next slide, Matt.
This one here.
With the gains and losses and so forth. There we go.
Okay.
So this is what I was saying, that it just, I mean, we didn't know beforehand, but looking back retrospectively, this period that we're looking at was one of a lot of change in the bird world. So in terms of birds arriving, a lot of familiar birds actually only started breeding in these couple of decades. So I mean, Egyptian goose slightly before, but first Chetty's warbler, not entirely sure which year, but round about just after 2000 at Haybridge, little egrets and cormorants at Chigborough. The gulls started breeding in the industrial area. The common buzzard started breeding again at Hazley 2014, Pochard 2014, nuthatch and now come back and resume breeding, and bearded tits, and most recently cattle egret. So that's a lot of species. That's got 10 species that have started breeding within that period, which is a lot. And then again, we've had others that have bred occasionally, though looking at this list, it's unlikely that any are really going to become established. But during that period, we did have avocet breeding. Unfortunately, there's not enough habitat, or undisturbed habitat, should I say, for them to carry on. Little ring plover, they bred 1 year, ring-necked parakeet, well, they're perhaps going to continue and increase as they're spreading across the whole planet. Teal, gadwall, and we had black redstart breeding last year. But the other side of the coin, unfortunately, is just as busy. So if you go on to the next slide, please, Matt. That's
hold on. That one there.
There we go.
Sorry, there's a bit of lag there. Sorry.
Ooh, yeah. So brilliant. Okay, so this is the bad news, and you know, the birds in red are the ones that are on the red list that has been talked about earlier. Well, Stonechat last bred some time ago. Ruddy duck, well, that's got its own story. But ring plovers, not bred recently, and within the patch. Spotted flycatcher, sadly, has now gone as a breeder. The last breeding pair was at Beeley Abbey in 2016. Meadow pipit and redshank, they just kind of suddenly disappeared. They were regulars on the salt marsh every summer. It used to be really enjoyable listening to meadow pipits and watching the redshank families, but they've gone. Willow warbler, we don't know of any breeding in 2021. Grey partridge are probably just game releases now. We're not aware of any recent breeding of lesser spotted woodpecker, though there are odd records still. And the biggest shock, I suppose, this year has been house martins. Huge. Have just vanished.
Yeah.
And so there's 10 species lost, just as we had 10 species gained. I mean, hopefully the house martin is a bit of a blip and some will return next year. But you can read for yourself that at risk, those species there are familiar throughout Essex.
Yeah.
As we're struggling everywhere. So it was an interesting period to write about. And so it brings me on to sort of what a lot of the book is really about, which is trying to create awareness amongst all the local people here in Malden about what is important, what they've got around them, and what could be lost. And so being able to sort of highlight these species and talk about them in the book, I think is helpful, and particularly when we've got a lot of planning decisions going on at the moment. It's an opportunity to kind of raise awareness and put wildlife further up the agenda in terms of the council priorities. Yeah.
No, that's so important. I'm just getting so encouraged about what you've done here, John, in terms of, it's great to kind of have something that tells people where to go bird watching and what they're going to see, but to actually take that data and to work as like a team in your own local area. And I just, if anybody else is getting the same encouragement I am of getting people together, recording together, and maybe pulling data down from BTO and even the Birdwatching Society, you can do it online for your own particular area, to cover, particularly breeding bird records. Otherwise, this information is missed, and this is the key information really. Down here, where I am, there's a new scrape being put in, and with the information that you've got, John, you can say, right, well, we want to identify that for Avocet, because there isn't an undisturbed area per se, and you could actually go with ammunition, so to speak, and research. So important. How's that going in terms of what's the plan going forward with this?
Well, there's 2 or 3 little projects actually going on at the moment in the Malden area where we're trying to develop sort of wildlife plans and try and get things in place with the council and fight against the developers, basically. And I think a lot of it, as everyone is becoming increasingly aware, that the developers come up with proposals and planned mitigations, and the worry is, are any of them actually going to be fulfilled? Have they got any weight to them? And so there's a sort of opportunity by actually coming along with data and pushing them that there's more likelihood that that the wildlife will be better protected going forwards.
Yeah, no, it's so important.
Can we look at some of the highlights? I think you've included some pictures, John, haven't you? It'd be nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this highlight slide is allowed, because 1 or 2 of the things aren't birds.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm sure we'll be okay.
Simon Wood broke all the rules at the beginning of the year and all of that. We had more moss flying around us and feathers.
Oh, hang on.
There we go. It's all right. I've got to flick through them each time. It starts at the beginning.
I think it might be a Malden disease.
Nothing wrong with mate.
Pardon, Steve?
Did nothing
there we go. Right. Yeah, it's just to point out that I mean, this is some of the impact. I mean, this is me not doing much birding at all outside of out of the Malden area. I mean, I haven't actually been to Old Hall birding. I did it once in a Salt Marsh Challenge event, but I've not been birding there. But because, I mean, this is the point I tried to make to locals, that you don't need to travel much. You can actually find stuff locally. So, I mean, here we got, it's actually Andy Cook's photo of the spotted crake that was at the dump pool. And then the sort of young cattle egrets and southern migrant orca. It's one of the dragonflies. So, I mean, there's, as people who know Simon Wood will be aware, he's really knowledgeable about a lot of invertebrates as well. And so we've had a lot of sort of moth sightings. We've been lucky with butterflies. We've now got silverwash fritillaries. We've got white admirals breeding in the area. We've had a sighting of purple emperor. And the bottom right-hand corner, everyone kept talking about otters, but there was never ever actual proof of through a photograph. So I was really pleased this April actually I was at Chigborough, and a couple of otters just swam straight in front of me. So it just sort of shows that just by sticking local, you can still find stuff.
Brilliant.
That's brilliant. How can people get hold of your book, John?
But if you look at the currently, it's on sale in Malden Books or at Hanningfield and Abberton. There we go. And there will be, I keep saying to people, there will be a website. The idea of the website is to be a kind of repository of Malden records, so updates to, you know, lists and new records and changes and so on. So it's a bit of work in progress, and I hope to be out there in about a week or two's time. But you'll be able to get the book through that. But currently, so Abberton, Hanningfield, and Malden Books are the main sources of the book. Or give me an email and ask me. I can.
But there's another way, isn't there? If people
there is
get the closest to your answer tonight.
Yeah, that's right. So there's a special Christmas prize competition. It's not quite what Planet Rock had today of £125,000. It's a copy of a book. It's a copy of a book. And so the question is, how many species of birds were reliably recorded as wild birds within our Malden patch, so that patch of the circle, within the years 2000 to 2020? And so it's the British Birds List, or BOURC list, which means currently Amelia Redpoll still counts because they haven't taken it out yet, I don't think. But Ruddy Shelduck doesn't. But whoever's closest to that number, I'll give a copy of the book to.
And I'll give you a clue. It's a 3-figure number we're looking for.
I've got a funny feeling.
That gives you 999 options, doesn't it?
I've got a funny feeling that when we go back to the main screen, somebody's going to be cheating.
I can see Steve G looking in the book already.
Yeah, cool, so there you go. He's looking up the answers already.
So we're going to have an interval shortly. We want you to get the numbers into the YouTube chat, or give them the email again, please. And then in the meantime, if anybody's got any questions for John, then get them into the chat or into the email. I know we haven't got the text and Facebook tonight, but maybe we'll have a little scan of Facebook if we can, if we need to. But ideally, we want to be on YouTube and email. What's the email, Matt?
Yeah, so the email again, just for anyone that's not sure, it's ebwstalks@gmail.com, or you can put your guess in the chat. No one's guessing yet. So that book, Steve G's got it. I'm sure, Steve, you can do a mini quick review in 5 seconds.
I mean, slightly biased because I was born in Malden, but do you know what? The effort John and the other people have put into this thing is literally amazing. I mean, even the Wildlife of Malden, since I started birding, which was a long time ago, you know, never dreamt of seeing little egrets, never mind cattle egrets breeding. But yeah, I mean, it literally covers, well, as John has said, moths, butterflies. It's just brilliant. And there's even mention of the local pubs as well in Malden. So if you're partial to a beverage or two, then it's well worth reading. But no, it's a fantastic book, and local walks within the Malden area as well. So
good. Yeah. So while you're doing the answers, Matt, you got something more for us from John, haven't
you? Don't think so.
I think that's it.
Is that it? Okay, brilliant. Okay, so I thought we had more pictures. No problem.
We're gonna let people kind of have an interval now, I think, aren't we? Steve,
yeah.
In a minute or two, anyway. And
we'll have a break, but
people can put their answers in the chat then.
Thanks for coming. Just the other thing that came to mind, John, have you met Glyn Evans from up kind of where is he from?
Wivenhoe.
Wivenhoe.
The rival coastal community of Wivenhoe.
Yeah. Is that where the Battle of Malden took place or something? Or... But I know Glyn's very interested in making sure there's accurate data for these mitigation surveys and these planning applications and things like that. And it really is critical. And so certainly the society, or John came and talked to the society about this kind of thing and was looking really, I would say, for champions in that area, you know, to try and kind of generate maybe across Essex or across kind of, you know, particular regions of Essex, people that will kind of, get their heads together and basically kind of, make sure accurate data is actually being fed out. And maybe, even, as I say, the drawing together of the data to challenge stuff that isn't accurate. Because again, when I drove up, I remember the day because it cost me 150 quid to fill my Land Rover with diesel. Because it was on the big county Birdwatch, and that diesel or petrol shortage was on, and all of the cheap diesel had gone, and I ended up at a petrol station near Malden having to buy that super diesel, and Land Rovers have got big tanks. So I remember the day, but I couldn't believe how many houses and estates were built and new retail parks through that whole kind of, back route that I would take from, South Wood and Ferrers through to Abberton and that area. It was incredible. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Good. Well, thanks, John. We've got the answer to the question. John's given us that. So we'll be announcing that later. I'm sure maybe John will sign the book for you.
And we've
thanks for coming in. Sorry, Matt.
Got a question for John in the chat. So
okay, let's do that.
John Clark has asked, did John and co cover North the Island much?
Not very often. I mean, we've recently been over there a few times. We got to know the new warden, and he's happy for us to go over and have a look and survey. But because it's tidal, obviously the timing makes it a bit tricky, so we don't get often as much as perhaps we might. But we start going. They've done some realignment work there, and in fact they've put in a new bird hide and a new scrape, which I've yet to see. So it could be becoming more interesting. As people perhaps know, if you need to go, you just or want to go, if you just let the National Trust warden know, I think his email or text is available, then he'll just confirm it's okay to go. It's not open access at the moment.
Good.
And we've got some really good guesses coming in as well, guys. So keep it up.
Great stuff.
Excellent.
Well, you've got John's details. I'm sure we had them on the screen anyway, didn't we? Kind of with a book, so you can kind of look back over the YouTube video. If you want to contact John, find out any more, then please do. I'm sure I'll be willing to share with you, particularly if you want to kind of add anything from other aspects of natural history towards, data in that particular Malden area. I know John would be interested in that going forward as he looks to develop that further. Thanks, John.
Lovely.
Okay,
so,
great.
Thank you very much,
great
John.
to meet you.
Right, thank you.
Virtually.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Yeah, take care. Bye.
Wow, loads of answers, chaps. It's like,
Yeah, we've got loads. We're not
They're
going to
all
cover
coming
them.
in, are they?
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll be
yeah.
coming through the interval. We'll should we do the answer after the interval, do you think?
Yeah, let's
let them stew a little.
do that.
We got a comment as well earlier on from let's just find it, from Nick Lay. He said, I think he means the kingfishers were at the Golden Gates. And Steve, he said your hide had rotted away.
Yeah, very much so.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, we just made it from old wood that we found on site.
Yeah. Okay,
Good.
so we're going to do unless anyone else has got anything. Have you got anything, Steve G?
No, I've sent you a couple of we had a couple of answers on Facebook, which I've sent over to you.
Thank you.
No, John was brilliant. I mean,
Brilliant. Yeah. We
hope that someone's going to win the prize and get it spot on. But if you don't, it's
worth
worth it.
Do it.
The book's well worth it. Just
Yeah.
I mean, it's cracking quality. I mean, I say 245 pages. I mean, it's a thick book. It's great stuff.
Well, what we'll do is let's set the clock. 3 minutes to get your answers in.
Yeah.
And we'll be back in 5 because it's going to take us a couple of minutes to get to the nearest to the answer or win the prize if nobody gets it spot on.
Lovely. So just going to have a 3-minute interval. I'm going to start a little video thing playing now. Hopefully it works. And we're going to turn our cameras off. We'll be back in 3 minutes, everyone.
Okay.
Time to put the kettle on and all that.
Yeah. And there we go. What do you think of that? Well done, Matt. That was brilliant.
That music was amazing.
I'd just like to apologise to anyone that thought that was terribly naff but couldn't resist it. And I'd just like to also point out I've changed into my other Christmas top. So there we go.
Is that your other persona, your Christmas persona, Matt?
It's a full-on bar humbug, yeah.
I can't believe you own a T-shirt as well as it.
Well, what can I say?
Oh, good.
Underneath this.
I would say I've got the matching socks, but I'm not showing you that, to be fair. And we'll stop there as well.
So, how are we doing with this quiz?
Right. So let's have a look, because we know what the answer is. So when are we going to reveal the answer?
Should we reveal the answer now? And there's going to be no more.
Because I think we
can see the time when they came in, 2054. That's probably the last.
Yeah. So let's have a look. I think at the moment it looks like. Yeah, we do have a winner.
Oh, that was a squeaky one. David Webb, 206.
Yeah, we got a winner, and I think the winner is from Whittam by the looks of this. As long as can we all confirm that?
Whittam.
Yeah.
Would that be DLS?
Yeah.
He's very close, isn't he?
Very, very close. And I think that is probably the winning bid.
Okay, we're obviously looking at this live.
Yeah.
So if you have put a answer in closer than 235, which is David L. Smith, than the answer, which we'll give in a minute, then we need you to shout and we'll look back over if we've missed it.
Well, to be fair, I don't think we can do that now because we're kind of giving it away because I've only got to go one above and one below. So
true, sorry. No, I'm saying if it's in the past history, it needs to be in the past history, not current.
Yeah, okay, I got you. Okay, I don't think there is.
Otherwise, David Smith, I can't see it. That's decision. The judges have decided.
Yeah.
And the judges' decision is final, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the winning number was Steve Grimwade, who's got the book.
I don't know. I haven't
The winning number was. Do you know, Matt? 238. 238.
My bookmark is still inside it.
Oh,
I haven't got that bit in the book yet.
That's an impressive number of species, though, isn't it? 238 species on a.
Definitely.
Patch area.
We just spoiled the answer for you, though. Spoiled the story for you, haven't we, Steve? Sorry, mate.
Mate, don't worry. I need to carry on and read the book, don't I, really?
Definitely.
Do you remember how many species you were seeing as a kid there in a year or so?
No, to be fair, I can't. But,
yeah,
you know, I mean, when I look back over, like, when I first started birding, you know, a lot of firsts I saw at Malden. And that spotted crake that John had a picture of, I remember seeing that. That was a really good one evening.
So, other than Malden and where was it you were down the south coast doing the dancing and stuff, was it?
For me, well, yeah. So,
Warners.
Yeah, okay. Might as well tell you.
Where have we been? What have we been doing?
I've been to Somerset this week.
Whoa.
Yeah, well, it doesn't sound that grand.
Oh.
Although I did stay in a very stately home where they filmed To the Manor Born.
Oh.
And also, its other claim to fame was it used to be the site of Mr. Blobbyland.
Noel Edmonds. Noel Edmonds' house.
Is that the real reason you went?
No. We tried to find some Mr. Blobby evidence there, but we couldn't find any.
He was at the BBC in the week causing mayhem. I think he's trying to make a comeback.
Yeah, I've been going on one of those Warner, you know, adults only.
Very good.
Where I was the youngest person by about 30 years.
But those of you that are out there, we want to know where you've been and what you've seen as well. So in this section, we're going to cover our reports, what's about, recent sightings, and then the big man is going to make an appearance.
Hey, ho, ho, ho.
And we said he'd be on at 9, so we're going to have to put him back a few minutes. But who's going to start?
I think Steve G can start, can't he?
What are we doing? What we've been up to?
Yeah, and what's been about.
So let's have a look if I can.
And we've also got a little bit of an ID feature from Topical ID.
Definitely.
Start screen sharing if it ever. Hopefully you can see that.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, got that, Steve. Nice.
So earlier in the month, when I wasn't away, I spent quite a bit of time down at Wallacey Island.
Lovely.
Which is down near Canewdon in the south of the county. And if anyone's never visited Wallacey Island, it's an RSPB reserve. It's absolutely fabulous. Amazing this time of year for birds of prey. So, yeah, up to 2 hen harriers wintering there at the moment. It's not the best photograph in the world, but nice shot of a ringtail.
Nice.
Really good place to see marsh harriers.
Yeah.
There's a good half a dozen marsh harriers on the site at the moment.
Beautiful.
Saw that, and not great shot, but there's at least a couple of short-eared owls there at the moment.
Nice.
So if you're thinking of somewhere to go over the Christmas break, then certainly Wallacey. And this is one that I phone scoped. So,
Hey.
so not brilliant again, but you know, nice to see. And there's a landscape shot, and you can see these lovely wetland lagoons here. So in the spring they're full of breeding waders and gulls and stuff, but in the winter lots of ducks, loads of thousands of golden plover, as of which some can be seen here. So yeah, it's I haven't done much locally this month, but
Nice.
hopefully the next week or two get it, you know, get out a bit more and see some stuff. But what about you guys? What have you been up to and what have you seen?
You want to go next, Matt? Because I'm going to combine mine with my report from south as well.
Let's just have a look then. So, I mean, again, much as Steve, really, I've been out a bit this month, but I've been trying to stay as local as possible. So, Audrey Reservoir around the corner from me. I'm up to, I think, 103 species there for the year now, which I'm really pleased with. And great white egret dropped in towards right at the end of November, I think it was, a couple of days after the last show that we did. Managed to get a picture of it as it flew past, and it just went underneath the moon in the early morning sun, so I thought that looked quite nice. And then it landed quite close to me, so luckily managed to get a picture of it just as it sort of landed and flapped its wings before settling down. I've also had mandarin at Ardley as well recently, which was a patch tick for me, which again, I'd done a walk around there for 2 or 3 hours, and there was a section which I couldn't see. I only had to walk 20, 30 meters to view the area. And I was so close just turning around and going back home. I thought I can't be bothered. I'm just going to turn around and go back to the car. But I walked further up the road, scanned back, and lo and behold, there was a little male mandarin tucked away. I got a record shot, not really that great though. But what I have had at Ardley is up to 14 goose under. I think nice. I had 5 males and 9 female types. They're at distance, so some of them could have been young birds. And there's a little group of, I think we've got 6 here. Just, you know, 5 of them were on the bank, and the nice male in the water there. They were quite close from the Lodge Lane causeway, that was. And then I've had a couple of trips over to Holland Haven. Obviously, Holland Haven, for anyone that doesn't know, is very famous for purple sandpipers every winter. It's it's kind of an Essex hotspot really for purple sandpipers. And they've had a good number this month. I think they've had up to 11 actually at one point, which is a really good number. And they're lovely birds, and you can get, you know, reasonably close to them if you want to get some good views. Obviously don't disturb them, that's of course the most important thing, but when they're feeding, they're very obliging, and they kind of take no notice of you really. So got a couple of shots of the purple sandpipers there. It was quite a nice sunny day when I went there. And on the way back to the car, I sort of spotted a bird kind of diving really quite close in on the rocks just off the beach. And I must confess, to start with, the first time I saw it, it disappeared and I wasn't sure what it was. Then it popped up. I caught it for, again, a split second in my binoculars, went down. I thought, well, it's not a cormorant because you get loads there. I actually thought it might be a shag because the head kind of looked the wrong shape for cormorant. Then it came up again and I got a proper view of it, and it's a red-throated diver in winter plumage. So lovely. I couldn't resist. It was so close to the edge of the shoreline. I had to wander down and stand on the beach for a little while, just taking a few pictures of it. And one of them, it looked right at me. So quite pleased with that. It came out quite nicely. And a nice bird to see close. You don't often see them close. Normally they're miles away, you know, or flying past, or yeah, so really nice. Then I popped over to Abberton as well since the last show. Got better views of the redneck grebe that's been quite regular there. I think there's still at least one bird there at the moment, isn't there, Steve? There
is, yeah. There's still a sort of juvenile type or first winter bird still knocking around.
Lovely. So yeah, quite pleased with that. And then, well, there's a bit of a story behind this. So I hadn't seen snow bunting at all yet this year, and I decided to take a trip out to East Mersey before the Formula One last Sunday, which, to be fair, I might as well have stayed on East Mersey for the whole day, but that's a whole different story. And I'd walked around the end of Stone Point, and for anyone that knows it, you can kind of get round Stone Point to a certain area, and then you pretty much have to turn around and come back. So I was on my way back and I hadn't seen snow bunting, and I knew they were meant to be there, and I was getting a little bit, you know, thinking, okay, I wasn't gonna see them. I've got to head back to the car now. And I was talking to myself for a split second. I do that sometimes, a little bit mad, I know. But the sun came out and it looked absolutely gorgeous on the shingle. And I had my camera with me and I thought to myself, if only a snow bunting could pop up just there. And I'm not kidding. As I did that and looked, the exact point that I pointed at, a snow bunting was sat there feeding. And it kind of reminded me of you, Steve, because you've done that at least 2 or 3 times when we've been out birding. Yeah, I think on Canva you said, yeah, grey wagtails quite often in this ditch, and then one flew up out of the ditch as you said it.
Yeah, that often happens. That is, it's just brilliant. It makes it even better when you say this looks really good for, you know, why isn't it there? And then
out one pop. So yeah, so
a master's apprentice.
As with the purple sandpipers at Holland, the snow buntings, you can get some lovely views of them, and they're so difficult to see, you wouldn't believe, because they're the same colour as the shingle, and they don't really move that quickly, you know, unless they're disturbed. They sort of shuffle along, and yeah, so got some nice views of the 2 birds there at the moment, really nicely brightly coloured, and obviously the yellow bill, and this is the other bird. I thought this one had quite a cute little face, really, and you can kind of see with the background there, if you can imagine, if you haven't got the depth of field on the camera, if it's all, you know, when you're looking at it, everything looks the same, this bird would really blend in with the colours in the background there.
Absolutely.
And then finally, popped back across to Abberton the other day and managed to get a picture of the red-head smew that's been off the Layer Breton Causeway. And I'm not sure, this one looks like it's kind of dark round, I don't know, is it a female, do you reckon, or a young male, Steve?
This one's a young male.
Right.
You can see that black patch around the bill and around the face.
A little bit of white coming through on the wing as well. So yeah, that's gonna be stunning in a year's time. They're so gorgeous, the males, aren't they?
Would it be this year, one of this year's birds, Steve, or do you know the aging of them?
No, I imagine it'd be last year's bird.
Right.
Okay.
If anybody can help us with that, then
yeah, that'd be good.
Interesting.
And my very last picture, this is basically the same picture of the great white egret landing, but when I was putting it on the computer, I kind of was messing around with some of the settings, and I managed to change it a little bit. And this goes back to our photo comp last month. I don't know if you remember the grey heron, which we discussed, didn't we, guys?
Yeah, that's right, with a black background. Have you had a happy accident?
Yeah, well, I was messing around. I thought that looks quite good, and so obviously the colours of the bird change, but I kind of ended up with that.
Wow.
So it sort of looks like it's in breeding plumage now, because you've got the lures have gone that kind of lovely greeny colour, but obviously the bill's still yellow. But yeah, it just kind of came out okay. So it'd be quite interesting really to know what people think of that compared to the sort of proper picture that I showed earlier on. Which do people prefer? The more arty type one or the more genuine record shot? But there we go.
Nice.
That's
I like the manipulated one. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's eye-catching, isn't it?
Different features, isn't there? Kind of, you know, your eyes drawn to, you know, the beak and the sort of coloured set. Yeah, beautiful. Great pictures as well, Matt. Fantastic job, mate.
Thank you.
Good.
So what's happening down your neck of the woods then, Steve?
Well, waders are growing. I've not been out that much. I had my booster a couple of weeks ago, and that knocked me back 3 days. Yeah. And then 3 days after that, I came down with this thing that I'm struggling with. Forgive me for kind of chewing all the time, but otherwise I'd be coughing all the time, and that wouldn't be pleasant for you as well as me. So yeah, that's limited me a bit. But I did get out to East Tilbury in the week, and also got out to Thornton Country Park. But what I was going to do is incorporate the reports, and you know, because again, your pictures there, Matt, I've just kind of brought. You know, you can think kind of on the face of it, birding in winter can be a bit kind of droll. It's cold and all the birds are in grey plumage and that kind of thing. But, you know, there's new fresh birds to see in wintertime, like the snow buntings, winter thrushes as and when they arrive. I only had one on the patch. But there's fresh stuff to see every season. And also the numbers. And so for me, winter birding is probably... There's 3 things I'd share. tonight with people that are watching, particularly those kind of, you know, beginners, maybe intermediates that are growing into birding. I can kind of share this screen. The first thing is where I live is like an estuary patch. Have you got that, guys? Is that
yeah, got it. Lovely.
Is it a full screen?
Yep.
Excellent.
Cool. Good. So I'm not sure. I've got two of them on my screen. I don't know which one to change. I click on there.
Yeah.
Does that change?
Good. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So yeah, kind of. If you're going out birding and you're able to go out for a day or half a day, then think about the coastline estuaries, like, you know, Matt and Steve. Matt's put some pictures up. Those purple sandpipers. For me on the Thames, it's the waders. There's several thousand dunlin now gathered at East Tilbury. But from Wallacey, where Steve was talking about the Raptors, looking at the south area of Essex, all the way around, Leigh-on-Sea, Shoebury-Ness, these are great places to watch the sea. And there's some great birds about as well. And what has happened while I've been doing that, I've lost my notes of what I was going to share.
Oh, there they are. I can see them.
Have you got my notes? Have you got the
Yeah,
picture?
just saw your notes. Yeah.
Have you got the picture now, the notes?
Picture. Got the picture.
Good. Yeah. Right. So coastal Thames estuary site birding in the south of the county, Wallacey, Southend, Shoebury-Ness around the coast, Gunners Park, which we'll be coming back to, Leigh-on-Sea, it's Two-Tree Island, Canvey Island, Pitsea, where there's Bowers Marsh, Vange Marsh, and East Tilbury. The key there is to pick the tides for that particular place. I would suggest, I can tell you for East Tilbury, 4 hours before high tides, the tide's coming in, you get the waders building at the high tide roost, which is near Coalhouse Fort. So go to Thameside Nature Park on a high tide, you won't see much, but go to Coalhouse Fort at high tide, then you get a chance of murmurations like this with some raptors. So this is kind of, you know, this wasn't this week, this was a picture from last year that I took in February. But then the other place is woodland. Hawfinch are around at the moment in the south of the county, as well as up in the northwest. I don't know whether it was currently in the northwest, but Hatfield Forest is 28 hawfinch been seen. They're 25, I think, today. Excuse me. Thornton Country Park is where I took this picture in 2018. Not the best picture, but there was about half a dozen hawfinch there, and I heard one on Monday. Andrew Cox has been reporting one or two there. If you go in from the Thornton Golf Course, there's a public footpath. Follow that footpath to the end, and that's the area where they come into roost. For hawfinches, you want to be kind of looking them either early in the morning or, you know, kind of in the late afternoon, I would say, Steve, when they come into roost. And then they'll call, listen to the call. But in woodland, you've also got a chance of siskins. Obviously, the woodland species. There was a lesser spotted woodpecker reported from Hainault Country Park and the Hainault Forest area this week in the south of the county. You've also got South Weald Country Park. Around Brentwood, there's loads of woodland and forest. Mature woodland for hawfinches. Oaks and hornbeams are ideal. For the siskins, redpolls, which were seen at Thameside Nature Park mucking this last weekend, just a handful. You need to be looking at the older trees and maybe some birches as well. Excuse me. Another good place for that is Chafford Gorges, Bellas Country Park also might be worth a look for woodland species. Say either early in the morning when they're first out and have that initial feed, where you know that from your own garden feeders. I have kind of, you know, up to 20 goldfinches coming in that first burst early on to feed, and then they'll split into smaller groups throughout, or when they come into roost. Or the other alternative is a woodland where there's a rookery, Linford Wood here, and the Golden Gates Heron Shore Lake at Thameside Nature Park combined, one of the largest, probably the largest rookery in the county. And we did the rookery research earlier in the year, and that map, I think, is all on the website. So it's absolutely amazing to be at a rookery at dusk and to see the birds come in and hear them, get the atmosphere, particularly near water, like a mucking. That's a real treat to do. That's something I do regularly. And so then the other thing I'm going to throw in, a curveball, London Essex birding. In London, the temperature is going to be a few degrees warmer than it is out kind of, you know, Colchester Way and wherever else. That means water's not going to freeze as quickly. So unsurprising then, at Fisher's Green up the Lee Valley is a good place for seeing bittern, and there's one there on Fisher's Green being reported. Siberian chiffchaff, Rainham, again, is close enough to London to get some of that thermal effect. And there's a Dartford warbler there, currently kind of looking like it's going to overwinter. And then you've got the big reservoirs. Some of them you need a permit for, but at Walthamstow Wetlands, I'm sure the guys will be able to help you there. Where at Walthamstow Wetlands yesterday, and there was a dusky warbler found, which is a great bird. Excuse me. But on the reservoirs, these big water bodies, you get the divers, so you don't have to go all the way to the coast or Holland Haven. There's great northern diver and black-tailed diver there recently on Walthamstow Reservoir. And so, you know, if you're in London or Essex, London side of Essex, you know, in the suburbs, you've got options there. And actually, you might find something really special. Never forget my first encounter with a bittern was walking on the edge of a town by some ditches, and one literally flew out a ditch about 5 meters from me. It obviously roosted there, and I disturbed it and flushed it. But, you know, if you're out early in the morning, you never know. So what else has been about? East Tilbury. Probably behind, here's Rainham. These 15 Barnacle Geese came in Rainham 2 days ago. It looks like they've landed on the Thames. I can't be sure, but it looks a bit rough for the lakes there. So I suspect that's on the Thames. That picture was taken by Alan Chown. And then the other thing about Fisher's Green, there used to be a long-eared owl roost up there. This was taken in the south of the country this last week or so. You never know. You're walking through scrub. Matt would be delighted for that sight, wouldn't you, Matt? Still one you're missing. What a beauty. And some people that have encountered long-eared owls at this time of the year literally have been, you know, looking down or something, walking the dog. They've looked up and 3 meters away, they've got that looking at them from a tree.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing.
You can take it off the screen now, mate. I don't want to see that anymore.
There you go. So just to join the Abberton crowd, East Tilbury on Paul Wood's Dowitcher Pond, which is right at the end of the walk from Coalhouse Fort heading downriver along the seawall. These two black swans, we don't know where they've come from, but we had a pair, Nick Lay informed me, kind of flying either last year or the year before for the same kind of period as we understand. But this pair turned out, Pete Merchant took this shot, fantastic light. They looked absolutely stunning. Did you scope that? And they've obviously, you know, they're plastic, as you'll have to go back to the last program to know what that means. But similarly to this was out my study window where I'm sat right now. I looked up 11 o'clock the other week morning. I saw that flying over. That's the white stork, which is also a ringed escape bird. But it was flying to the other side of from East Tilbury, where it's been down near Coalhouse Fort, where the Walsh's Quarry is. It moved over to the Linford Park, which is opposite the George and Dragon pub. And I think somebody took this out the car window. I walked over there when I saw it fly over, couldn't see it, but now I know why. It was obviously playing hide and seek. There's one of Nick Lay's pictures of the white stork. Then the other thing to look out for is raptors. I bumped into Nick last a week or so back on a Saturday, and we were both watching a couple of sparrowhawks. This one being hounded by a rook over at the Golden Gates. Excuse me. I had two peregrines over at East Tilbury above the scrape. If you want to see peregrines, there's a pair there hunting. They showed a couple of surveyors and what they could do going through their paces after a couple of feral pigeons there. So it's a great place to go at the moment. East Tilbury, the seawall, find the new scrapes and look at the land above it. There's often a couple of peregrines there that if you hang around for long enough, particularly on a rising tide, you'll probably see them hiding. They're not seemingly going for waders. They tend to be preferring feral pigeons when I'm watching them. But also on the river, going back to the river, divers and auks, black guillemot. Someone's already raised that as a candidate for Bird of the Month. Yeah. He's down at near Shoebury Gunners Park off Josh's, what's it called? Josh's Gantry, is it? Goldsburg. That's right. You can find that on Google. But that's a great site. but there's also been razorbills, guillemots, black-throated divers, great northern red-throated divers, all the way between Gunners Park and Canvey. Not had so many up here, but there's also been some shags around too. And then gulls, glaucous gulls. Watch the back of boats if you're looking at the river. Look out for the white-winged gulls, because there's definitely a glaucous gull that's been reported up and around there through Canvey. And kittiwakes, I think even yesterday were reported in numbers down that way. And then also on the gulls, Caspian gull at Eagle Pond. And there's another one, I think, at Snaresbrook, a first winter and an adult bird down there. Also, Raynham's pretty good. So back to raptors, got the sparrowhawk there. But also, my wife saw a red kite about 8 o'clock in the morning driving into London to Woodford Wells, around the Stapleford Tawny area. I've never seen them reported from that area, so we put a report in. But if you're seeing these birds, please report them. It's another one of Nick's lays, the sparrowhawk. And he also took this barn owl. It's a great time to see barn owls. And anywhere there's either kind of a marshland area along the estuary or river, flood meadows and things like that, look out for barn owls.
Well done.
Yeah, good picture, isn't it? I've actually not used his best to, because I think he might want to pop one of the two of them in the competition, because he's got some crackers.
Oh.
So yeah, and also short-eared owls. I know there's been one. It's not reliably seen here, but there are definitely short-eared owls, as Steve said, around Wallacey. And then the other bird to look at on the smaller side of Wallacey is spoonbill, but there's also twite. If I stop that share and try and quickly do this other one, just to show you how the time's going.
Yeah. I was I think
look on Twitter.
Yeah.
For twite on Tim Bourne and the Sognet guys, and on the Sognet website, because they've got some pictures, and also this black guillemot. But I'm going to hand over to you guys now.
Yeah, cool. So I'm going to really quickly, I've got about a minute just to cover north and northeast Essex, just some real key sightings, that's all. And I think Steve's got an ID piece for us coming up, which is going to be really exciting. And then we're going to share some viewer pictures too. People have sent in some pictures for it, which is lovely. So first of all, we've got Audrey Reservoir, obviously great white egret, Mersey, black brant, there's been seen quite regularly there, and Liz Huxley, I've nicked a picture off of our website, so you've got the black brant on the left-hand side here, obviously, as we discussed last month. They've also had black-throated diver and 4 great northern divers on Mersey, or off Mersey. Frinton's had 11 shag, which is really good for Essex, and a flock of 30 barnacle geese. Were seen there a couple of days ago, I think, flying through Hanford Water. Paul Brayshaw had them. You've got the Hive in Colchester, which is always a good site for jack snipe. And I know that the guys down there have had 4 jack snipe recently, which is pretty decent. There's probably a lot more if you went down there with a thermal imaging camera, maybe. And then at the Naze, there's been up to 4 short-eared owls. And I love this little picture that Brian Combs has put onto the website. You've got a couple of shorties there together in the same picture, which I love that. I think that's great. And they've also had the pale-bellied brent at the Naze as well. And again, Liz Huxley's had a picture of that too. So she's had pictures of dark-bellied, pale-bellied, and obviously black brant as well in the last month, which is great. Thanks, Liz. And then finally, at Fingering Hoe, Daryl Rhymes has had a couple of water pipits. And of course, Holland Haven, as I mentioned earlier, have had 11 purple sandpipers. And there's been a long-staying Dartford warbler there as well, which I think might still be around. That's a picture of one of the water pipits that Daryl Rhymes had. So that's a brief run through the key sightings up this way. Over to you, Steve G.
And also back to Fingering Hoe, Ben Mapp had 24 barnacle geese during the week. So there's obviously a bit of a push from the continent somewhere. Yeah, let me just quickly, again, I haven't got many pictures, but let me just share that and just make that a bit bigger. Can you see that, guys?
I can. That's very smart.
Cracker.
This is one of 2 male black redstarts at Brightling Sea at the moment.
Oh.
So hopefully they'll spend the winter around. But absolutely, what stunning birds to have on the local patch. These were found by Daryl Style, I believe, and Sean Nixon's got an excellent photograph of these.
Beautiful.
The mouse won't work. Oh no, I know why. Zoom out. And then today was Webb's Count Day at Abberton, And this is a cracking shot of a great northern diver from Glenn. So thanks, Glenn, for supplying these pictures. But yeah, this one's been out on the pumping station at Abberton, if you know it. So probably a bit distant, viewably distant from the Hydes or Abberton Church, but well worth keeping an eye out for.
Yeah.
And again, probably the same smew. In fact, he's the same smew, Matt, that
okay.
photographed.
A slightly better picture, to be fair. Who took that one?
Sean Nixon.
Okay.
So, thanks, Sean. And then running on the shag theme, again, there's obviously an influx of these in the county. So this one was trying to blend in with a coot today at Abberton. And again, this bird's been sort of off the sort of between the dam and Lodge Lane and sort of that area. So, you know, again, a good inland record, that is.
Are we sure that's not actually a coot with a shag costume on?
Ah, it could be. It is panto time. I'm supposed to say, oh no, it isn't, or something.
Yeah, it's behind you.
Behind you, exactly. So yeah, so that's. But Abberton's still got scorp, long-tailed duck, black-neck grebe, red-neck grebe. You know, the usual sort of wintering birds. That
we say the usual stuff, but Abberton, I mean, that's a mega list, isn't it? If anyone wants to go to Abberton for a day, you're going to get all those birds. Brilliant.
Yeah, there's a lot to see there, isn't there?
So
Ron Thurman just mentioned Barnacle Geese again. There's two with approximately 300 grey lag in Elmstead Market. I don't know where that is, but Elmstead Market,
just
two Barnacle Geese.
Just east of Colchester, that is.
Right.
So if I was going to see a small kind of dark seabird flying past, and I was thinking, what on earth is that? How would I know what I was looking at?
Well, funny you should say that, Matt.
Oh, really?
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Funny you should say that. But look, I've produced this little ID thing.
Here's one you prepared earlier.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, well, I did prepare earlier. So I've just put together a selection of the sort of the awkward auks. Very good. So I won't go into it too much because time's a little bit against us tonight. But I'll leave these up on the screen just for a few minutes. So I'm just covering the sort of common-ish species that are in Essex, or regular species. So common guillemot first.
Yeah, it's the sort of bill, isn't it, really? The kind of long bill shape that always gets me on that.
Yeah, I'd say that dagger-like bill. And they're not very black. They tend to be sort of brown and white, not black and white.
Yeah.
You get a good view.
Look quite grey at distance, don't they?
It's not
I find.
in the world, to be fair. But and this little black line that bisects the face is quite sort of easy to pick out in the winter.
Cool.
So then we go on to razorbill.
Yeah.
Again, much more low profile in the water, but this bill, I mean, this is stumpy, heavy bill, and they tend to sit more upright, like diver, sort of posture, which is really good. And this one's quite a scarce winter visitor to Essex. Although this year, as we spoke about on the last show, there seems to be far more around. Really good. Little auk. So quite a scarce bird in Essex, but these are tiny, size of a starling, and they often get blown down the North Sea, and they can turn up anywhere, people's gardens, all sorts of places. But this tiny little short stubby beak, I mean, it is really a tiny little thing.
They're so cute, aren't they?
They are. I mean, normally when they turn up like this, they're not in a very good way.
Yeah.
But I mean, the winds are forecast northerly again next few days, so might be worth looking out on the coast, Holland Haven, Thames Estuary.
Okay.
I thought I'd put Puffin in just because there's been a few records recently. So this is how in the winter, again, very black and white with this sort of dusky face and obvious dark sort of bill, typical Puffin shaped bill.
Because they shed their colourful bill, don't they? It kind of sheds like a like a nail. Yeah.
Still got a little bit of colour on there, but you know, well worth looking out for around the coast at the moment, because they're obviously out there. And this is the bird that's down at the south end at Gunners Park at the moment. So thanks to Andrew Armstrong. So he's the EWT ranger for Gunners Park, who sent me this picture and let us use it. But black guillemot is, very rare in Essex. I think there's been 12 records, 12, 13 records. They show this lovely sort of white wing patch. When they fly, they've got almost a white oval. And I say it's much more thinner build than the common guillemot. And they're very sort of slim, and they've got this grey, frosty plumage.
Grey looking. While that's on the screen, Steve, Richard Chew has said, surely that's the bird of the month. And I think we'd all agree.
Yeah, we all agree, don't we?
Yeah.
Dusky Warbler's a nice find in Walthamstow, a late contender, but Black Guillemot gets it.
If you want to see this bird, if it's still around today, as the guy said earlier, around high tide's the best time.
Which is about 12 o'clock, probably round about tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's 12. Then it's sort of 12:30, 1 o'clock the next few days. So, and conditions have been very good for it the last few days, very calm. So, hopefully you'll get views if you go and see this.
And either get the train to Shoebury-Ness and walk back to Gunners Park if you're public transport, or park in Gunners Park and walk behind the lakes. And it's been seen in that area usually, unless you know more currently, Steve.
No, you're spot on, right, Steve. Yeah, just go past the lakes onto the sort of the seawall as it is.
Seawall area, yeah.
There's a concrete pier.
I imagine there could be quite a few tomorrow there. Yeah. More pairs of eyes always helps. Maybe 2 swinnies as well.
So is that all of the Orcs, Steve, for Essex?
It's not, because do you know what? Last month I did the geese ID, if you remember.
Oh yeah, Daryl wanted you to be precise, didn't he?
Yeah, he pointed out that
we better be precise, just for Daryl.
So I thought we'd add this one just to keep Daryl happy, because
so they don't move much, no?
No, they're often seen in very rigid positions.
And is that in John Buchanan's zone as well? We're killing 2 birds with 1 orc there.
So if anyone sees one of these that is moving, please give us
crackers.
If you do see one flying, let me know as well.
Yeah.
And obviously, before anyone writes in, I haven't put Brunnick's Guillemot on the
no,
because it's probably not on the Essex list.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Steve. That's fantastic.
Great job, Steve.
We've had a message from Pat Hatch, who said, where's good to see short-eared owls in North East Essex at the moment? I think I probably covered that in my little summary. The Naze is a really good place to go. Or Colne Point is also quite good as well, normally for short-eared owls. A little bit trickier to get to. But yeah, the Naze or Colne Point.
Yeah.
Steve, I think you've responded on the chat. Stone Point at Walton. Yeah, thanks, mate. Excellent.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably up to date with all of the questions and things.
Good.
Daryl says we're very cheeky for putting that great order.
It's got to be done sometimes. It's Christmas, the season of good cheer.
Brilliant.
Good. Well, let's.
Can we do some pictures from the people who sent in?
Yeah, absolutely. Any feedback?
Yeah. Let's see if we can get them up. So we've had a few pictures sent in this month. Not that many. So yeah, thanks very much for everyone who sent pictures in. I've got to do these one folder at a time, so you'll have to bear with me. I've got a couple of pictures from Claire Ward. So she sent in a couple of lovely pictures of a Sparrowhawk on a Starling. And we were having a debate. Do we think this is a female, guys, or maybe a young male, or not sure? Don't know.
I think it's a female.
Yeah, female.
It's quite a substantial looking bird there on that Starling.
Yeah. Right colours for a female as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the plumages.
That's a lovely picture. Thanks for sending that in, Claire. We've got some pictures sent in from Daryl Rhymes. He sent in, I'll show them, but I know we've already covered this off in Steve's summary. But he's just got some more images of the Great Northern Diver at Abberton at the moment. So what a bird.
Lovely.
Absolutely stunning. Thanks for those photos, Daryl. I want to try and get down to see that hopefully in the next few days if I can. And then we've also got a nice sequence that was sent in by Glenn Moore. Now, Glenn sent the first picture in, which is this one. Hold on. And when he sent it, I was like, I couldn't quite believe the size of the pike. So this is taken at Abberton again, and you've got a great white egret that's basically speared an unfortunate pike through the top of the head. So the pike's obviously seen better days. But my response on the email to that was obviously, thanks very much, great picture. I bet it didn't swallow it. And then I received a reply back from Glenn saying, oh, yes, it did, with some pictures. Now, if anyone's a little bit squeamish, you might want to look away from the screen now. But we've got a short sequence of the great white egret completely swallowing that absolutely massive pike, which is quite incredible, really.
Amazing.
And finally, that leads me on to our photo competition. So obviously we had the photo competition in the autumn, which everyone may have already seen, and Liz Huxley won that with her beautiful picture of a medical which I'm about to get onto the screen here. I actually went round to hers the other day, socially distanced, of course, and presented her with the picture of the med goal that we had framed.
Excellent.
And we've relaunched the competition for the spring. So it starts now, for the winter, apologies. So the winter is December, January, February. It's open now. Details are on our website. If you want to submit a photograph, and then we'll go through the whole voting process, and the winner will be announced in the February show on YouTube, and the winner will receive a picture all framed up like that. And if they live close to one of us, we'll present it to them. If not, it will go in the post. So yeah, thanks and congratulations again to Liz. Thanks for letting me use the picture. And please send in your photos, everyone.
Yep, excellent.
There you go.
We've had one message on the emails before we introduce our special guest that's lurking in the corner of the screen. So it's from Michael Rumsby, and he said, hello from the Rumsbys. Ben is still on 149 species for Raynham this year. Just needs one more for the 150. He's isolating though, so not sure if we'll get 150 with greenbirding. And greenbirding, just to remind people, is biking, walking, running only, no vehicles. So nearly 150 species without using a car.
Well, good luck.
He's also annoyed he can't do the BTO Young Birder Walk this Sunday because of COVID, but I'd like to commend him for obviously staying in his bedroom.
Yeah.
He's also taken a photograph of a spotted flycatcher at Chafford Gorges that won the Young Birders category on the Essex Wildlife Trust.
That's true.
So if anyone wants to log on to the EWT, go on to the photograph competition there. You can still vote on them, I think, at the moment. And the Young Birders category is Ben Rumsby's photograph of the spotted flycatcher. And he was following a tit flock there for over an hour to get the photograph. And it's a really lovely picture. So, yeah, thanks for that, Michael. And well done, Ben.
Yeah, there's some cracking pictures on there. And the finalists, I think, are still under voting. So you can actually vote for Ben or any of the others for the actual overall winner.
I was just going to say, good job we're not doing a green list, because running wouldn't be part of our... we couldn't manage that, could we? I mean...
What are you trying to say?
Tripping up. Anyway, here's our very own top guy, big guy, Gerry Johnson, our chairperson, our chairman,
Gerry.
Chairperson. How are you, Gerry? How are you doing?
Evening all. How's everyone?
I'm surviving.
Well, first of all, I'd say thank you very much, guys, for another super live stream. It's been brilliant, actually, and how you incorporate everything and do it at each month, and that is fabulous. And I think from everybody that watches, I'm sure we all thoroughly enjoy it, and that's obviously evident by the comments and the feedback that you get. So excellent, well done, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Gerry. It's been quite a journey. You know, a year and a bit ago when we first started and went into lockdown and COVID, and second big county bird watch, which was almost kind of completely smashed to bits by it and cancelled. We wouldn't have seen ourselves 12 months on site.
No way.
Doing this.
No.
But
You mean it's not normal for you to sit there in funny hats?
maybe for two people.
No, it's been a very, very challenging year again. Who would have thought it, as you say, back in the 12 months ago, beginning of 2021, when we thought we were coming out of this crisis that we find ourselves in. And here we are again, approaching Christmas with yet another change in the virus.
Yeah.
Fortunately appears to be, although it's very, very contagious, it doesn't appear to be at present quite as just debilitating to people, and although it's serious and will be to some people who are vulnerable. So we say be very cautious out there and try and keep your social distancing and just do things you're comfortable with.
Yeah, stay safe. And also, you've got some current news updates regarding the trip, haven't you? You wanted to share?
Yes, please. We are technically due to go to Titchwell by coach on the 9th of January next year, 2022. But in light of the conditions that's happening and social distancing, I feel that it would be unwise for 40, 50 people to sit on a coach together for 2.5 hours to go up to North Norfolk and then do the return journey exactly the same. I know we can wear masks, but I think it is a little bit challenging and a little bit foolhardy. So I'm afraid we'll have to put the Titchwell trip off until another time. But it doesn't mean to say that we won't be getting out there. We'll be doing a buy your own transport trip to Wallacey Reservoir on the same date, starting or assembly there at 9 o'clock. And I would suggest Billett's Farm car park, Steve, or
probably I would say no, it's going to so it's on Sunday the 9th of January.
Yeah.
And we meet on the Laird de la Haye Causeway.
Laird de la Haye.
Yeah, at 9 o'clock. And then the visitor centre car park doesn't open until 10:30 or 10.
10-ish, yeah.
So it gives us a chance to bird there, and then we'll move on to the reserve, get a hot cuppa or whatever, because it's bound to be a bit chilly.
Yeah, but it's a good site where we can get to and we can keep social distance. And from what we've seen this evening of what's about there, it's more than likely that many of these birds are still going to be around on the water and close to us, and we'll be able to join together and have I won't say social, but certainly a collective group of people. And it's obvious from the trips that we've been doing recently, the buy your own vehicles, that members and guests are really enjoying be able to get back and see one another again, which is important. It's good for our mental well-being, as we were saying earlier, that it's just good to get out and see stuff. We know that it relaxes people, and in challenging times it's brilliant. And it's been a good year, let's face it. Really, we've done so much to try and keep people connected and engaged and informed, and that through the live streaming, through the website, which Andrew's kindly updated and made life a lot easier for putting recordings on that you see the sightings, to renew your membership, which saying that it's due from the 1st of January. So if currently you pay by any other method than standing order, please do try and remember to get it away to Membership Secretary Pete Dwyer early in January, so he doesn't spend time chasing people up. So that'll be brilliant. And plus the fact those who aren't members, just to remind you that you will get 2 copies of the Essex Birding magazine each year and a copy of the Essex Bird Report, which is put together by a superb team of sub-editors, operated by the new editor, Neil Sumner. I saw him today, actually. He had a day off from sort of number crunching, shall we say. He was down at Bradwell sorting some bits and pieces out there with John Smart, looking at rewilding possibly 11 acres of ground by the Athona there. Wow. That's where you'll find the new Bradwell Bird Observatory. Well, it's in their grounds there now. It's formally being taken over from the beginning of January. Unfortunately, the hut, which has been next to Linnet's Cottage for probably best part of 50 years, it got moved because it got flooded a couple of times with high tides. They got some residents that have taken over, which aren't welcome. So it's seen its past its sell-by date, shall we say. So it's time to move on. Time to move on to something fresh and new opportunities. And I know the Society is looking at those around the county as well for greater influence and greater involvement. It's been a good year, and we wanted to get you on to, look back over the year. We had the Rookery survey just took off from the YouTube, was an amazing involvement. I want to thank everybody that got involved in that, and unprecedented work. And
hopefully something that will carry on going forward. And then the big county bird watch as well was a really great event that we had this year. It's been a good year. What have been your highlights over the year, would you say, Gerry, kind of birding or society or personally?
There's been a few. Obviously, constraints have sort of narrowed them down from what they would normally be out and about in the county. I think doing more localised birding in local patches and getting to places like Hanningfield, walking around at Abberton and Blue House Farm, where you can do things but not be in a crowd. Pick your times when you go there, when you know, as Steve was saying earlier, when the tides are right, when the birds are going to be there, the winter birds, the waterfowl, the waders, and now things like the owls are being seen at all over the county. Basically, it's just a superb county to go birding in, and I would encourage many people to join in.
What would you say your highlights have been, guys? Steve, Matt?
Oh, Steve?
Well, I mean, like as Gerry said, you know, I mean, obviously we were locked down for the second time in January. Just getting back out again in this like March time was pretty wonderful.
Yeah.
Much as I love the local patch, you know, I do love Abberton and places like that. But yeah, just, you know, I mean, we are blessed in the county and East Anglia just for some amazing places. I remember going up to Lakenheath in the spring and saw 67 hobbies fly over the fen, which was pretty amazing. And then, guys, our expedition to Snettisham back in September.
Yeah.
That's number one. That was just brilliant, really special.
Yeah.
You know, we obviously see each other a lot on these screens and stuff, but it was just nice just to catch up, the three of us. And we were chauffeur driven, weren't we, Matt? Through the
yeah, that was fun.
So yeah, that was my number one highlight. But you know,
excellent. Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed the indoor talks and the field trips being able to start up again. You know, don't get me wrong, I 100% love birding on my own. I really, really do. It's great. You can go at your own pace and, you know, you find things yourself and you can spend time identifying stuff yourself. However, it's also absolutely fabulous to be able to meet up with people again, you know, friends old and new. There's been a lot of new faces this year at the indoor meetings and on the field trips. And thanks to anyone who's watching, who's come along to any of those. It's really good to get all the new members. And for anyone that's watching that's not a member, as we've already said, join. It's really worth it. It's a good crowd. We get up some good things when we can, obviously. And you get all those publications as well. My number two really is kind of joint. It's probably seeing the roller bird in Suffolk. The roller, the European roller was fabulous. And the spoonbills breeding at Abberton, which was mega. I think that was a first for Essex. And because there was a few people reporting and messages going out, keeping everyone updated, it felt as if even when I was at work, I knew what was going on with them. And when the first picture went up of that little tiny baby spoonbill with the tiny little teaspoon beak, it was brilliant. And I think everyone got a chance to see them, and that was brilliant. But yeah, my number one, I'd agree with you, Steve. I think it's just the day that we had in Snettisham, not just for Steve's driving, which was fabulous, but for the knot. You know, the knot were incredible. Such a spectacle. Anyone that hasn't done it, you've got to go and do it. And it was, I agree, absolutely great to actually see you guys and meet up with you for a day and spend a day birding. Yeah,
I think for me, really, I'm looking back over 3 years, almost, when I bumped into Gerry at the Birdwatching Society annual general meeting. I think it was a March time, and he said if anybody's willing to help out with the society and, you know, come onto the executive committee, then please let me know. And I had a chat with him, and then shortly after that I got involved, and to be able to kind of, you know, share some of the stuff I do and help out. You know, I remember we suddenly kind of were thrust into Zoom for our executive meetings and kind of, oh, can we do that? Whatever, you know. Fortunately, I had a bit of experience in that, so we managed to get that sorted out. And then soon Matt and Steve were Zooming, and everybody was Zooming, and we were all Zooming like the rest of the world. And we found ourselves kind of, new opportunities in the society. And so, this Christmas, this end of the year, I'll actually come off the executive committee. And so that'll be my stint done, certainly for now. But it's been a real joy and a privilege to serve with the guys and everybody, Andrew, Neil, and everyone on the team that have really contributed and supported. It's been fantastic. So in a sense, this could be my last show. I don't know where we're going or where I'm going future-wise.
I thought it was a cold you just got, Steve. I didn't think it was serious.
All my tests are negative, mate. So I'm not planning to go anywhere other than.
Excellent.
We've got some feedback on the chat quickly. Going back to the Razorbills, actually. Sorry, we're a little bit behind on this.
Yeah, go on.
Nick Lay said, "Did a Razorbill turn up at RSPB Rainham Marshes a couple of years ago?" I don't know. Not sure.
I don't know.
Could well be. Maybe.
It's possibly.
If anyone knows,
certainly they've been past East Tilbury and worked their way up to West Tilbury, and there could well have been one off. They do from time to time get up. There's been one this year. At least there's been a couple this year. Past East Tilbury. Don't know about raining.
We've got a few people just saying Merry Christmas and just thanking all of us, I guess, for doing the show. So yeah, thanks to those.
Yeah.
Graham Lawrenson and Richard Chu, Jan Lewis. Hi, Jan. Mo Jackson has said a highlight was a pair of turtle doves on the farm in the spring.
Lovely.
So,
that's a great highlight.
On their farm. So that's a great kind of garden stroke farm patch tick. That's brilliant. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Nick Weston has said he joined late. Any chance we can start again?
no chance.
Actually, if you use
my voice won't hold out for another.
Yeah, if you can use the same link, you can watch the show again straight after, and we'll edit it and get it onto the EBWS website over the weekend as well. So it'll be there. It'll be on our YouTube channel permanently.
Thanks for joining anyway.
Thanks for joining. We've got Ron Furman. Hi, Ron. He said, "Thanks, guys, for the great broadcast this year, and happy Christmas to all. Keep safe."
Good. That's cool. Yeah, there's one thing.
Mel Shepherd Wells has said, "Not the woodchat shrike as a highlight." So, although it was a great bird. It was a great bird. I think for me, the roller bird and the spoonbills just about edged it.
Yeah.
Richard has actually asked a pertinent question, and I think this was also asked on email from it may have been from Steve Wilkinson as well. This is directed to Gerry. Do we think that the indoor meeting on the 7th of January will be going ahead with the current situation and those beyond that? And Steve on the emails has asked if the monthly meetings may go back to Zoom. So I don't know if we've made a decision on that yet, guys.
We've yet to make a decision on that, as you say, but 7th of January indoors again, it's going to be debatable. We'll talk to Dr. Chris Gibson, who's doing the talk about Minorca, and see whether, I'm sure he will be able to do it by Zoom if required to do so. But please check on the website, and on your emails we'll post out on there and give you as much warning as is possible. It's a shame, really, because you lose something with the Zoom, you gain something with the Zoom. In fact, you can reach a wider audience on Zoom, but it's nice to interact with people, and I know speakers like to engage with the audience, so it's unfortunate. But it's challenging times we live in, but we'll get back to where we are. Sue's very dynamic in moving things around. Sue Watts, who does the indoor meetings for us, and she'll be sorting out whether we go forward, continue to be attended, or whether we do go forward with the Zoom meetings, which in the light of what's happening in the last sort of couple of days and numbers increasing dramatically with the COVID, then I think it's probably prudent that we do go back to Zoom. Yeah.
Ultimately, the authorities may even step in and decide all of that, whether it be the owners of the building or the government. It's looking very likely, isn't it? Unfortunately, but So the other thing I was going to say, guys, is I bought you a little Christmas gift.
Sorry, Steve. Just before we had, Ben and Michael Rumsby have messaged on Facebook tonight, just to say that their highlight was finding Peck Sandpiper at Rainham and seeing 9 cattle egrets, which is the most they've seen together. And they both really enjoyed the Big County Birdwatch in September.
Great, thanks, guys.
That's brilliant. Well, they've also just. Sorry, Steve, go on. Sorry, go on.
Back to Nick Lay's thing about the razor bill. It was one at Raynham.
Yeah.
And Michael freed it from brambles, apparently. Well, it was caught in brambles near the Ken Barrett hide.
Wow. So it was on the reserve.
Well, Ben and Michael have also sent in this picture of the roller up in Suffolk. And I guess that's one of their highlights, the European roller bird. So, absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant. Well done, everyone.
Fantastic.
So
Brilliant.
I was hoping one of your highlights, guys, was a little kind of prezi that I was giving you just as a memento for working with me. Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to now open it, it finally got there. As long as you're...
I've got some elastoplast handy as well, just in case.
a little prezi.
I'm going full on Swiss Army knife, so I might take the arm off with this.
You have got kind of the military up your way, haven't you, Steve? Bomb squad and all that.
Bomb squad. So Matt and I received this parcel each this week. If I can ever get in a blooming thing. While you're doing that, I'm going to go to my other camera.
This is where we find out how much he actually likes us, when a big boxing glove comes out and punches him in the face.
I'm almost in. We're into bubble wrap now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm into bubble wrap as well.
I tell you, Matt, there's no money in here, mate. There's
no. Is there anything in there? The postman got it.
Well, I've obviously been a good boy this year.
It's an original, mate. So. Steve's got something extra special inside his.
Love. I'm almost there.
Fantastic. Oh, thanks, mate.
So that's a
Matt on chat.
Matt on chat mug.
What's the image? I can't see. That's better.
You got me on a Matt on chat.
Got Matt on chat. I should have got the image and put it up.
I've got to take my glasses off.
We've got his favourite long-eared owl winking at him.
Thanks for that, mate. Can I tick that?
And then a couple of. Do what you want with it, mate. It's better to drink from it than tick it.
Steve's on mute.
Steve on mute, and Steve's graphics for the Big County Bird Watch there.
Fantastic.
And you know what's the bird in the middle there, Steve?
Is it a black-headed gull?
It could be. It's showing you a clean pair of heels, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the old albatross.
What is it? Not the albatross.
Let's show Matt. Put it up to the camera, mate.
Sorry.
You got the albatross.
I should have got the nearer. No, the albatross.
Oh, I can't do this.
And I thought, well, I didn't want to miss out, and I know you won't get me anything for Christmas, so
you're right there, mate.
There we go.
Oh, look at that!
Come off it.
There's only one highlight this year, mate.
When are you leaving?
And look, I've got that as well.
So Steve's got the other side of that photograph with it flying away from him.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
He's got my lucky Steve Grimwade. Maybe you'll see an albatross next year if you've got that, mate.
Yeah, maybe we will. Let's fingers crossed.
Fantastic.
It's been a joy. Thanks for everything you guys have done. I certainly couldn't have done this without you. It's been a great team effort. Brilliant. And Gerry as well, and the support from the society. And it's been, despite the situation, we've made it a good year. And, thank you for those of you that have watched and been part of the community, and keep on being part of the community, even in what John said.
Yeah.
Set up a community around kind of recording species and across different, we already have a relationship in the society with the Essex Field Club. And so, there's time's probably right for sharing data across that to really kind of make, Essex a significant place for bird watching and look after what we've got and better it. There's no reason why we can't do that, because we start off from a great start as a county. So I just wanted to leave the last words to Gerry, to the members, wish them. Go on.
Sorry, before we do, just got one question for Steve.
Wind up to that.
So King Cobra, I still can't remember what King Cobra's name is. I'm so sorry. I wish we knew. Do we know? I don't know.
He did tell us.
I'm really sorry. But a question for DG. Do you do guided tours for those less physically able to walk long distances?
The answer is yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'll drop him a reply in a moment while you're wrapping it all up.
Brilliant. And yeah, I mean, just don't forget, we've obviously got the field trip coming up on the 9th to Abberton now, self-drive. And we've got the indoor meeting on the 7th, which, as Jerry's just said, we're not sure whether that's going to be indoors or whether that's going to be on Zoom, but we'll mention that moving forwards on the website. So over to Jerry.
Sorry, Matt. Don't forget this Sunday.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Bowers Marsh.
The RSPB car park. Jerry will be there. I'll be there. Matt's going to be there. Yeah, meet at 9 o'clock, and we'll have probably have the morning at Bowers Marsh, and then maybe see how it goes. If anyone wants to go and look for the black guillemot, South End,
Yeah,
we might do that because Bowers is good for a good morning session.
Yeah, I'm definitely up for the black gilly if anyone else is.
Yeah.
Over to you, Jerry.
Well, I hope you have a good day, guys. I won't be able to be with you because I'll be doing carol services, but hope it goes well and hope you see the black guillemot. Over to you, Jerry.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers for that anyway, guys. It's brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Well, as I say, it's been a good year in some respects. It's been a challenging year. We've seen what's out there, and it's just about getting out there to be able to see it. The more time you put in, the more successful you'll be. So all I would say is come and join us on the trips, come and see some of the events, do it yourselves, do it amongst yourselves, but do it safely and do it within social distancing. And I'd just like to say to everyone, from the executive committee, from the recorders, from the sub-editors, to you guys on YouTube, and to all the members out there, have a very Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Happy, safe, healthy, and a bird-filled new year.
Yep.
Merry
Christmas,
Happy
everyone.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
Christmas. All
Join
the
the
best.
society. Bye.
I bet they're all thinking at home that we forgot the Christmas jumper competition.
They should know we're professionals by now. We've been doing this for over a year.
Absolutely. There's no way we'd make any mistakes doing anything that we do.
Oh, God.
Let me tell you straight. If you thought we forgot the competition, you are
absolutely
right.
Spot on.
Correct.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Sorry.
I can't believe.
But we were counting, weren't you, Matt?
I've done all the tally charts and I'd worked it all out and I'd written on a big piece of paper in front of me and then I forgot to look at the piece of paper. So I'm going to take complete responsibility. My fault. Sorry. But the winner was Ben Rumsby. So
Ben Rumsby, well done.
This will be on its way to you shortly. You mustn't open it till Christmas. Just need your address. I'm going to email you as well. But I reckon we'll get away with that, guys. No one's going to really notice, are they?
Not at all.
It's not as if anyone watches it, do they? So
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Well done, Ben.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Well done, Ben.
Christmas.